K&A Custom Crafts on Facebook.
Hello and welcome to another edition of On Deck, brought to you by Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. I'm the host, Big B, alongside my Yadier Molina, the working man, Crispy Bacon. How you doing?
Doing good. We're almost halfway through the season. Seems
Yep.
like it's been just starting, and
Yep.
now it's halfway there.
And joining us back on is Big Dog Greg. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you guys this morning?
Doing okay. Before we get started, I want to send my thoughts and prayers out to a colleague of ours that passed away. Greg, I don't know if you were able to do any work with her, but Vic, she was mainly on Sportsman with myself and Chris and Adam. That's why we got the Oregon Ducks baseball field behind us there. She was a big Oregon Ducks fan. Passed away this past week, I think Monday I heard. So we're going to have a tribute show for her on Wednesday for all our fans, just celebrate her life and stuff. So thoughts and prayers out to her family. So she'll be missed. So moving, and she was a big Braves fan too, from what I've heard. So let's move on. Big Dog, update on the Cardinals.
Well, Cardinals, we were kind of just chugging along, doing our 4 and 6 every 10 games or so. I think this last 10 we went 3 and 7. I think we're going to pick up a big time win today. I think that Michaelis is going to come out and give us a pretty strong outing. So at least there's that for today. But the Cardinals are still struggling. I mean, I think they're one of the 4 teams that are definitely probably out of the race at this point. I mean, I think we're like 15, 16 out of the wild card at this point. So it's just been a troubling year. Definitely missed Yachty's presence. We had a managerial change, even though the manager that we had before was Schultz, he wasn't doing too bad. But Contreras, that seems to be the best Cubs ever did, was get rid of him, because he's not providing any leadership. He's not calling very good games. His defense isn't great. He's a hitting catcher. He's more like a Mike Piazza hit first catcher. So we're not getting a lot of return out on that deal yet. So we're still struggling, and we're like a lot of teams. We just need more pitching depth. But I don't know what we're going to do at the trade deadline. I definitely don't think that we should be buyers, being 16 out. But we also got to get prepared for next season. So I don't know what's going to happen.
So you think the Cardinals are definitely missing Molina back behind the plate and the leadership there?
I think, we're missing the leadership. And, Molina was pretty decent hitting catcher too.
Yep.
Hit for a lot of doubles, made a lot of great contact, always made hard contact when he hit the ball. He called a great game. He was a great guy in the clubhouse. I think everybody rallied around him. He was more like a manager out there on the field. And, Contreras is a decent player, but he just doesn't have what Molina has in regards to leadership and his defensive capabilities.
Okay. All right. Chris, the NL West, NL West Rangers, how are they doing?
They're doing pretty good. I mean, we just started a series against Washington. I think we're a few games out from Houston. We're leading that, and Houston's kind of falling behind, and it's All-Star weekend. I think we have 5 starters heading into it. I think 6 total players.
Yep.
Hopefully that helps the cause for the season, and I don't think we'll be buyers per se, but I wouldn't, count the Rangers out of maybe looking and seeing what's out there.
Oh yeah, Rangers are going to be they're going to test the market. I mean, they'll find, if they can find somebody for the right deal, I think they'll make a move. My Twins, Going into the All-Star break, well, we got 2 games left against Baltimore. We should be able to at least split. Baltimore is sitting pretty tight in the wild card spot there. We're sitting a game, or actually just a half a game up on Cleveland. One guy going to the All-Star game again. Each team has to be representative. I don't think the Twins had an All-Star this year. I know, we're talking backstage about how the pitching staff is leading the league in most pitching categories, but they just can't get the hits together. So after the All-Star break, I'd like to see them try to get some bats. I know there's been talk, some people trying to make headlines with Nelson Cruz coming back. That would put Buxton in the outfield. I don't see them bringing Cruz back unless it's for a bat off the bench. He's not going to be your everyday DH. Buxton will be. Tim's not with us, but his Brew Crew is sitting number 2 game behind the hot Cincinnati Reds. I mean, so Brewers are another team that's probably going to look to add some pieces here. But outside of that, we got the typical – we still got Tampa Bay on top, Minnesota, Texas, of course. Then you got the Braves, the Reds, and Arizona. I mean, who would have thought we'd be at the All-Star break with Arizona and Cincinnati leading the way in their divisions, Greg? You got shocked there?
Yeah. With the Diamondbacks, I wasn't quite expecting this kind of progression, this early. Mm-hmm. I thought that they had a decent farm system. I thought that they had some good upcoming players, but I didn't think that they were going to start gelling this quickly. They're getting awesome starts. Zach Gallen, Zach Gallen was a pitcher that the Cardinals had, and they traded off at one point, when he was like right out of high school or college. Anyway, Zach Gallen is pitching tremendous. Ryan Nelson is putting together some good innings. Tommy Henry's been an awesome surprise. An awesome arm in the rotation. They're a team that doesn't strike out a lot. They don't make a ton of like hard contact, but they put the ball in play, and they're scrappy. They're hungry. And for a team that doesn't have like a lot of A-list talent, a lot of high profile players in the roster, they sure are playing, they play sound defense, they get after it, they hustle, they get a lot of stolen bases, and they just play hard. And, it's really refreshing to see, because in that division, it's been the Dodgers, year in, year out. So it's kind of nice to see a fresh face, because I was getting tired of the Dodgers being at the top all the time.
Oh, yeah. Just looking at the roster, I mean, I couldn't even name one Diamondback guy out there. I'm looking at it now. I see Lagoria's on there. Okay, I know who he is, but you guys could have thrown out like 4 different guys. I would have been like, I don't know who they are. But Chris, who shocks you being at the top there, leading the division here at the All-Star break?
Yeah, I got look. I'm not even. I mean, for right now, it'll probably be the Rangers, because DeGrom getting hurt. A lot of fans thought it's the end of the world kind of thing. I'd have to say them for right now.
Yeah.
Probably Diamondbacks, I would say.
Yeah, Diamondbacks, the Reds are kind of. I mean, even Pittsburgh was hunted around there, but they've fallen off. But the Reds getting Votto back, I mean, kind of lit them up some, and they made a move here. But with half the season left, I mean, races could be interesting. I mean, the AL Central is only half a game difference. The East. Tampa Bay started off hot, and they kind of everybody's closed the gap a little bit. That might be a good division to watch. The Central with the Brewers a game back. I mean, even the NL West. I mean, half a game back for the Dodgers. You know, like Greg, I think we're all kind of pulling for the Dodgers not to make the playoffs or not to win the division. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, they kind of been like the Yankees. You know, everybody's just rooting against them, even though ratings will be better if the Yankees and Dodgers make the playoffs and get the World Series.
It would just be nice to see a team like the D-backs
Yep.
win that division and
Yep.
do something, because they're a young team. They don't have they haven't spent a huge amount of money on their roster. You know, they don't have Trout. They don't have Ohtani kind of contracts and stuff, you
Yep.
know, so they're just kind of getting by. They're definitely under the salary cap. You know, so that's nice to see, kind of a lower market team doing something.
And that is one thing. I mean, you know, you got the teams that always spend money, and then you got, you know, even Tampa Bay. You know, they're spending money, but they're, you know, everybody doesn't count them in. I mean, every year it's always, the Boston and Yankees are going to make a play for the division, and it ends up being Tampa Bay. Definitely nice to see some smaller market teams make a splash, and you know, especially against like a Dodgers or the Yankees. So speaking of Angels, July 4th was not a good day for them. As we reported, or ESPN reported, Trout went on the IR. I think Rodon and Ohtani both left the game the same game. They're falling off. They're in fourth right now. So, Greg, you mentioned it behind the scenes. Where's Ohtani going? I mean, I think they're moving him.
I think they almost have to at this point. It's just the only thing that the Angels can really do at this point is they could be a major buyer at the trade deadline and really make a push to do something for the playoffs. But Ohtani wants to win. You know, he likes the environment in Anaheim. He likes the fans. He likes that it's not like a high profile area. You know, it's not like in New York City or something like that, but or a Philadelphia. But he wants to win, and even though the Angels have a winning record and they're not doing too bad, I don't think that they're doing quite enough. So I think that if the right trade package comes along, the Angels need to take a serious look at it and maybe make a move. I know that it's going to be a hard pill to swallow because he does bring a lot of people into the seats and everything. But, you know, if you could get a couple really good starters out of the deal and then some draft picks or some other compensation out of the deal, because what's going to happen is he's an unrestricted free agent at the end of the season. So do you keep him till October or do you get something for him? Because if you keep him till October, I think he's moving on one way or the next. And if you keep him till October, then the sky's the limit for another team, and he's going to go to the team that he thinks has the best chance to win a World Series, because that's ultimately what he wants. So if you keep him to October, you're not going to get anything out of the deal, but you have a little bit of leverage to get at least something, you know, at the trade deadline. So
yeah, Chris, what do you think? Ohtani's status in Anaheim.
Ooh. It depends how the rest of the season goes, but if it continues the way it is, I would think he's going somewhere else. Now, like you were saying, you know, he could either be traded or finish out the season and see what's out there. I kind of think that's how it's going to go because, you know, the longer he plays or starts, the more eyes teams can, you know, the more teams can look at him and kind of evaluate him. I mean, they've have a lot of information on him already, but just to see how this season goes and what they can do from there.
Yeah, I think right now, you know, make sure he's healthy, make sure that blister's okay on his throwing hand. You know, Greg, you're right. You gotta start listening to offers, but for a guy like Ohtani that's productive in both hitting and pitching, I think no matter what offer you get, you're not going to get a full. It's going to be short-handed because nobody's ever dealt with this type of player before, so we don't know what the market is. I mean, yeah, contract wise, he's going to be the highest paid player next year. I mean, without a doubt of it. But what kind of compensation you're going to get? What kind of this or that? So I think this is going to be, if they do trade him, you're not going to get a fair deal for him because we've never seen a player like this get dealt before. So, I mean, unless the Angels talk to him and say, hey, we're going to go out after the All-Star break, we're going to start loading up. You want to stick around or, but I think all signs are pointing that they're going to move on him. Greg, any other names out there that you see could get moved? I mean,
I briefly heard that the Mets were thinking at one point of maybe moving on from the Verlander and Scherzer experiment. But now I think they've changed their tune, and now they're thinking about getting rid of a few other guys that nobody really even seems to want. They're trying to cut payroll. They have some bench players and a few guys that kind of rotate in their starting lineup that they're kind of shopping around, but I don't think they're getting a whole lot of interest. I don't know exactly what the Mets are planning because they spend an astronomical amount of money for Scherzer and Verlander, who honestly at their age should be getting closer to like maybe a third of that because their skills are declining. Their abilities are they're on the downhill. There's no more upside. So I heard that for a while. I think that I don't really know of too many players out there that might be on the move. I think that maybe some of these teams that were starting out halfway decent, like the Pirates, that are definitely starting to barely tread water at this point, maybe moving on from a couple pieces to maybe get something else. But I think that right now at this point, for everybody that's wanting to make a move for the postseason, the biggest need right now is arms. And there's a lot of decent pitchers out there. It seems like every team, including the A's, has at least two decent pitchers, in their staff, but they're trying to get more. And I think that's the missing piece for a lot of these contenders is just one more decent arm, whether it's a starter or a reliever. So I looked for not a whole lot of position players, but a lot of pitchers to be moved during the trade deadline.
Chris, how about you? Any names that you've heard that might be out there for trade or?
Besides Ohtani, no. I'm sure there's a lot out there, and we'll take one or two of them just for help. But I haven't heard any names. No.
Yeah, I'm looking. I haven't seen. I mean,
none that stick out to me though.
Yeah, like Greg said, a lot of teams are going to be looking for arms. I know the Twins are going to be looking for bats, but again, where do you go? A team that might be looking to unload because their experiment hasn't worked is the Padres. I mean, could we see the Padres trying to split up that core of Machado, Tatis, Soto, those guys? I mean, Greg, what do you think?
I think that they've went all in the last year and a half or so, picking up Hader. For their closer, he hasn't quite been as stellar as he once was for the Brewers. And then, of course, they got Tatis. I don't think they're going to move on from him. I could see maybe moving Machado out of those three somewhere. But I don't think that they're wanting to get rid of Juan Soto. He's a generational talent. Tatis, when his mind's right and he can stay out of trouble and stay healthy, he's a generational talent. So I think that out of those three, they may move on from Machado. But they're getting decent production from those guys. The Padres have just been kind of playing. They've been playing spotty baseball all season long. They're starting to come on a little bit stronger now, starting to put it together. The Mets are starting to win some games too. So those are two teams that had high expectations that are finally starting to play kind of to their expectations right before All-Star break. So I think that they may just let it ride because they're actually playing decent baseball. But you got guys in that lineup that are decent, like Grisham. He's not really doing a whole lot. Hasn't done a whole lot this season. Bogarts definitely hasn't played up to his standards so far in San Diego. So I don't think it's really the big three. I think that you got people in the center of that lineup or at the bottom of that lineup that just aren't producing, and their pitching's been kind of off and on. Other than Musgrove giving them a decent start and Darvish racking up strikeouts, they haven't had a whole lot to deal with.
Yeah, I'm looking at the standings right now, mainly the wild card. In the American League, you got all but 5 teams that are under 10 games back. That'll probably, you're kind of looking at, okay, are you going to be sellers? You're going to be buyers? You're going to stay pat. In the National League, you got all but 3 teams that are under 10 games. So the one thing with the playoffs, a lot of experts are saying is the way the playoffs are now and more teams are getting in, there's not a lot of movement going on because there's so many teams that are still in the hunt and stuff that, the next, what is it? August 1st is the trade deadline.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're probably not going to see many moves right away, but come the last week of July, to the wee hours of, midnight on the 31st or whatever, I think the first piece that we're going to see fall, if we're going to see some major trades, is going to be Ohtani, of course. I think once everybody figures out what he goes for is when we're going to start seeing a lot of moves. You're going to see a lot of bench players get moved or minor league guys that have potential that have been up and down. But, I don't think there's going to be many big trades until Ohtani gets moved first. So, a couple weeks ago, we had, I think it was the 23rd, 24th perfect game thrown by the Yankees. I'm trying to look at the pitcher that threw it.
Yeah, I forgot who it was.
No, German.
Yeah, German. So I was looking to see what his stat line was. I had it up here for a second. That was the first perfect game thrown since King Felix in 2012, I think they said.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, August 15, 2012 was the last perfect game thrown until June 28th of 2023.
Oh, wow.
So let's see. It looks like he threw just under 100 pitches, had 9 strikeouts. Of course, no hits, no walks. It's always fun to see those, read about them.
Yeah.
Greg, what do you think about him throwing the perfect game against Oakland of all teams?
Yeah. I thought it was great that he threw a perfect game, and it really doesn't matter who he threw it against.
Yep.
Because a perfect game is a perfect game. These guys are all professionals, are getting paid to play. And the A's, they have in their lineup, they have a pretty weak lineup as far, they've only got 25 wins, I think, at this point in the season. Yep. But they still have guys in the lineup that make contact and don't strike out a lot. So it was pretty impressive that he pitched a perfect game because those don't come along too often. I mean, it's a pretty rare feat.
24 in how many years of baseball? So
yeah.
And I think Oakland's only all-star is Rooker, I think, which I could be wrong, but I thought that was a name I saw for Oakland's representative. Chris, how's your World Series prediction?
Not too well.
Especially when you went Nationals,
Washington.
right?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Especially when your team's facing one of them.
Yeah. Just so everybody knows, Chris's early season prediction was KC versus Washington in the World Series. Yeah, not looking so good. So, Chris, you got the All-Star. It is All-Star weekend. So,
Yeah.
Greg, do you watch the home run derby at all?
Yeah, every now and then. It's been
Who's
a
your
couple
money on?
since I've watched it, but yeah, I used to watch the home run derby all the time. In fact, I used to watch the old school home run derbies when they had like Mickey Mantle and those guys, doing it.
That was at Wrigley Field, wasn't it? They used to do that
Yeah.
little TV show. Okay.
Yeah, sometimes it'd just be like a one-on-one competition.
Yeah, I remember watching those.
Yeah.
Who's your pick?
I think as far as just kind of someone pitching meatballs, I think it's going to be the polar bear, Pete Alonso.
Ooh, be a 3-peat, wouldn't it? Or did he not win it last year?
I'm not sure if he won it last year or not, but I think that he's got a great swing for the home run derby.
Yeah.
Pitching 70-mile-an-hour, meatballs right down the center of the plate. I think that he's got this.
Okay. I'm gonna go with I think Glad's gonna win it. Glad Jr. I think is gonna win it. I just want to see if we can find out because I know he won back to back. But was it last year that he won back to back? Or do we miss a year? Chris, who do you got in the home run derby?
Probably missed a year. I'm
Oh,
gonna be
Soto
biased
won it
and
last year.
can't
That's right.
remember who-
Juan Soto won it last year. So that answers my question.
Oh, okay.
So who you got winning the home run derby, Chris?
I forgot who it was, but it was one of the Rangers. I can't remember who it was.
Let's see if we can find the participants. I know Polar Bear's in it. Felix Rodriguez for the Mariners. Oh, you got it pulled up, Chris, or
Yeah.
Alright.
I can make it bigger, I think.
let's see here. Home run derby.
This is for national.
Yeah. So
We
we
got
got
John Murphy.
Oh, that's the All-Star game. Okay.
Oh, I
So
can pull
for the
up
home
the
run derby, we got Lewis Robert Jr. versus Roachman, Pete Alonso versus Julio Rodriguez, Mookie Betts versus Val Guerrero, and Garcia versus Randy. I can't pronounce his last name from the
Acuna?
Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
So it should be a young star, but go ahead and pull up the All Stars there for who you got
Yeah.
there. So let's talk about.
And-
So we got the NL first. Is that who you got pulled up?
yeah.
All right.
Nope.
Yeah. All right.
Technology.
So the starters, you got Murphy, Freeman, Arise, Arenado, Arcia, Acuna Jr., Betts, Carrera, and Martinez DHing. So it looks like Dodgers and Braves are well representative in the All-Star game.
Your reserves.
Yep, the reserves. You got. So any name that jumps out to you, Greg, that should be on the All-Star game that's not there.
I think that back in the day, the All-Star game used to have like at least a member from each team represented.
They still do.
And now it's kind of being overloaded by about 4 or 5 teams.
Well, I think he's saying that a
Basically.
starter from every team.
Yeah,
But,
exactly. Yeah, I get what Greg is saying.
But I think that they I think that for the most part they got it right. I mean, this is usually picked on for the most part by the fans, unless there's an injury or something, and then they get assigned by the league. But I think that for the most part, it's pretty spot on with how everybody's performing this year. I don't think there's anybody that doesn't deserve to be on that list.
All right, let's go to the American League there, Chris. Led
Okay.
by your Rangers, who
Yeah.
got four guys starting. Trout, of course, will be out due
Yeah.
to his injury.
It doesn't look like he's going to be in the starting rotation. Yeah,
I heard he's not even going to be there.
Right.
He was saying that he's not even going to attend. So, in the American League, yeah, I think they got it right. I know a lot of people were throwing out names. I mean, again, Sonny Gray for the Twins. I personally don't think the Twins should have a representative in there, even though they're leading. They just haven't had it going on. I mean, is it Rooker that's for the Oakland? Was I right on that one? Yeah, Brett Rooker. I mean, I kind of like the fact that each team's represented, but again, it doesn't bother me if they don't represent every team, because if you're having a bad year and it's just not there. So, Greg, on the American League side, anybody that stands out? I mean, Judge is hurt.
Yeah.
Otani's Otani's starting the game too, ain't he?
No, he's an elected starter, and he's also a pitcher.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I thought I saw that he was going to start the.
Not
Maybe
sure
I'm wrong.
order, but I know he's in the starting lineup.
So this might be the first year that they've gotten it right. Actually, the fans got it right on who should be in. I mean,
yeah, I don't see any.
Yeah,
issue.
he had a really bad start a week ago or so, but I thought that Eduardo Rodriguez for the Tigers should have been in there.
Yep. No, I agree with that one. That might be the one name that experts are saying that should not have or should got him. So, Greg, who's your early pick to All-Star MVP? If you had to pick one,
Let's see here.
you got one from both sides, just in case if whoever wins. I know you're a betting guy.
The All-Star MVP. You know what? I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, because I've always liked this guy as a player, and he's a Ranger right now, so I'm going to give the nod to Marcus Semien. I think he's going to do something special.
Ooh, okay.
For the American League.
For the American League? How about for the National League?
For the National League, can you show the National League again?
Sure, 1 second. Okay, here you go. I'll make it bigger.
There you go. You gotta blow it up someday, Chris.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Here's my pick for the National League. I think that Nick Castellanos is going to come in and hit a big old bomb.
Ooh, okay.
That's my dark horse pick there.
There you go. Chris, who do you got for possible MVP winners?
We'll go Simeon on the AL, and then on the NL we'll go Freddie Freeman.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Okay. On the AL side, I'm going to go with Acuna Jr. I think just what he's done so far, I think we're going to see some fireworks. Especially if he gets on first, I think we're going to see a stolen base, maybe a home run pop there. On the American League side, I'm going to go. I hate to just go with the obvious choice because he's going to get some at bats and pitch. I'm trying to see here. You know what? I'll go with somebody off the bench. I'm not going to go with Otani. I'm going to go with I'll go Glad Jr. I think he'll come off the bench and spark the American League. So I'll go with the two juniors. Being that we're in Seattle, why not go with juniors? Yeah. So, Greg, you might know this answer. There was I think our man Adam sent us a little likelihood of rare feats in a single major league game. Greg, do you know the one guy to hit 2 grand slams in one inning?
Was
We've
it
talked
Mickey
about
Mantle?
him. Who?
Mickey Mantle?
No. It was Freddie Tatis Sr.
Oh, yeah. Was that against the White Sox?
Let's check here. Let's see here. I had it pulled up. Okay, so Tatis did it as a Cardinal against the Dodgers, wasn't it?
Oh, wow.
I believe it was the Dodgers. Yeah, the Dodgers in off of Chan Ho Park. April 23rd, 1999. So, yeah, there was some cool feats there. Let's see, what were they again? So you had it's only happened one time, the 2 grand slams. 3 hits in 1 innings happened 3 times. Damon was the last guy to do it, I believe. 20 strikeouts in the games happened 5 times.
But by 4 pitchers.
Was it by 4 pitchers?
Yeah, because Clemens did it twice.
Okay, Clemens did it twice. I know Kerry Wood did it once.
Scherzer.
Scherzer's done it.
Randy Johnson.
Okay. 3 sacrifice flies in a single game has happened 11 times. 2 grand slams in a single game's happened 13 times, I'm sorry. Perfect games lost on the 27th batters happened 13 times.
But it should be only 12 because that game several years ago with the Detroit Tigers, that should have been an out.
Oh yeah, that should that was a very bad call. I remember. Yeah. That should be 12. You're right. Unassisted triple plays happened 15 times. 10 RBIs in the games happened 16 times. 4 home runs has happened 18 times. A perfect games now happened 24 times, which should be 25 if you want to count the one that should have happened. That was a bad call. An inaccurate inning, which I believe is three outs on 3 straight pitches, or is it 9? That happened 114 times. A no-hitter 316 times. Hit for the cycle 343 times. And 3 home runs in 1 game 480 times. So those are some rare feats in baseball. So, guys, with that being said, I don't have much more. Nothing's really going on.
I got one.
Go ahead, Chris.
I got one that's a little bit historical.
Okay.
Cubs finally won a game in the against.
Yeah,
the
I was going to bring that up. That's the first time that's happened in any Yankee Stadium, or
I believe so, in 148 years, or something like that.
Okay.
I mean, they've won against the Yankees, but not in Yankee Stadium.
Okay.
Which is pretty crazy.
Yeah. Greg, what do you think about that stat there? I'm looking to see first one in Yankee Stadium. Let's see here. Yeah, the Chicago Cubs earned first win in franchise history at Yankee Stadium on Friday night. A 3-0 shutout.
Yeah, I think it's pretty crazy considering that they've been having interleague play, now for a dozen years or so. So that's quite the feat, considering that the Cubbies and the Yankees have been around a long time. You would have thought that they would have met up at some point through history. And
that's why I thought it was going to be New Yankee Stadium, but no, they're claiming
at all ever.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how frequently the Cubs come to New York. If they come every season or if sometimes they don't even get on the schedule. But yeah, that's quite the feat that they've been around for over 100 years, and that's the first win that they've gotten in New York. So
Yeah, so the Cubs were snapped an 0-12 streak in the Bronx, which included 0-5 record at the current Yankee Stadium, according to MLB Baseball. So, yeah, you would have figured, I guess they must, like you said, Greg, I don't believe they met in the World Series at all because Cubs have only been there, twice in the last 100-some years. And, of course, interleague play has been around since, late 90s. So, yeah, that's just kind of aware. So, all right. So let's get our final thoughts. All-Star Weekend. Greg, what you got going on?
I don't have a whole lot going on. Just some family in town. They're going to conclude their visit to town on Sunday. So just visiting with them, just kind of kicking back and relaxing. We got the Big Bad County Fair coming up in a couple weeks.
Okay.
Might go watch a concert or something over there. Other than that, just kind of enjoying the sun and enjoying the time off from the kiddos and just kind of taking it easy, watching good baseball and getting ready to see what's going to happen. I'm not giving up on my Cardinals, but I think it's time to start planning for next year.
All right, Chris, final thoughts.
Yeah, thanks everyone for watching, tuning in. Baseball season seems to be, halfway point. Seems to be coming quick. So enjoy the All-Star Weekend.
Yep. With that being said, definitely keep tuning in to C2C. Again, we're going to have a special tribute show, I believe, this Wednesday on Sports Minute. Morning tailgates returning possibly end of July, early August as get ready for preseason football and all not for the NFL season. C2C Raycom will be on Tuesdays. Between the ropes, we'll recap Money in the Bank. Outside of that, just keep checking in C2C. We've got a lot of things brewing. So with that being said, thanks, Chris. Thanks, Big Dog. Thank you to the fans. And we'll see y'all next week on C2C. Have a good on deck. Have a good day.